Welcome back to our pattern of daily afternoon and evening thunderstorms. We did have some strong storms rolling through most of the Carolinas over the weekend. That will continue to remain the theme later on this afternoon, and again, most of this week, we're going to see that chance for strong thunderstorms. Nothing we're not used to, nothing severe. We might see a severe storm here or there, but just know that the chance of thunderstorms is going to remain a little bit more elevated this week than it usually is over the summertime. And of course, we can't have thunderstorms without the heat and humidity, so that's going to be with us. And we're actually going to see a little bit of a heat wave. Not really. The temperature is just going to be slightly above average, and we're definitely going to see the heat index get over 100 degrees for many locations this afternoon and for many locations this week as well. 8:26 right now on your Monday morning. Nothing showing up on the visible satellite or the radar. Again, probably too early to see anything on the visible satellite. We have no advisories, just some flood advisories scattered around towards the PD River and the Lumber River. That's all because of heavy rainfall that we saw over the weekend. That orange on the left side, that's a heat advisory for parts of central Georgia. We don't have a heat advisory, but the criteria is certainly getting close to it this afternoon, so we'll see if the National Weather Service puts us under a heat advisory or not for today, or maybe some days later on in the week. The air temperature this afternoon, we're going to hit the mid-90s. The winds are going to be calm, so don't look for any relief from the winds. And the rain chance will increase after, say, about 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's when we're going to see the peak heating of the day mix in with the instability, and then we're going to see our heavy thunderstorm chances roll on through. Right now, though, it's a few minutes before 8:30, and the feels like temperature is already hovering around 80. We're seeing upper 70s for some locations, lower 80s for others this morning, and this afternoon, take a look. Everybody is going to have the chance, at least away from the coast, we'll have the chance to see the heat index get well over 100 degrees. And notice you're seeing some locations on the map see 105 degree readings for the feels like temperature. And so it's not very often that we see every town on the map see a heat index at 100 degrees or above. So just do know the chance of that happening is going to be a little bit more elevated than it usually is at any given point over the summertime. We're definitely going to see the heat index get well over 100 degrees for many locations in the Carolinas today. And then after around, say, 5, 6 o'clock is when we're going to see the thunderstorms start to become a little bit more pronounced. And they might even try to form a line. You see the line forming here east of Columbia, between Columbia and Florence, back on into, say, Allendale, Hampton. These storms are going to be strong. They could be severe, but the chance of that happening is not great today. But do know any given thunderstorm could have heavy downpours, lightning, thunder, and some gusty winds out of this. And if they create a downburst, that's of course going to help knock down some tree limbs. But of course, that's not our primary concern. It's mainly just a heavy rainfall that's causing some localized flooding here and there. Again, don't focus in on the exact location. Just do know that the chance of thunderstorms is going to be a little bit more elevated today than it usually is. Notice that things are becoming more elevated this week than they usually are over the summertime. That usually happens with our pattern as we get into later on in July. But hey, listen, I heard over the weekend that we actually have some viewers that watch us from Scituate, Massachusetts, right? That's up there in New England. And let's take a look at their forecast, right? We can't leave them out. A nice 80 degrees this afternoon. They've got that southeast wind at about 10 miles per hour pushing on shore under mostly sunny skies. I wish I could say the same for here. That's not the case. But at least the weather is going to be nice for our friends up there in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. So bringing things back to familiar territory, notice we have storms likely now over the next 72 hours. Temperatures will remain in the mid-90s. Low temperatures are going to be in the mid-70s. And then the rest of this week, we're going to see temperatures get close to 96 and 97, at least for the inland communities. And so definitely expect the heat index to get well over 100 degrees for many days this week. And then the end of next week, or this week and into the weekend, that's when we're going to see an elevated storm chance continue. High temperatures will remain in the upper 90s to mid-90s, and low temperatures are going to remain in the mid-70s.